We're told in Killer7 governments set out to achieve global peace by firing their nuclear weapons into the sky and dismissing air travel and the internet. During the game, however, there is never a moment that is not about violence. It persists. Terrorism has been eradicated, or so they say, but we're constantly put in the observer seat for the most perverse setups for murder. It doesn't seem like terrorism has been eradicated, has it? We come to see that only the legitimate forms of perverse violence are allowed in this world, the kinds perpetrated by states, for instance. We get to watch USA's and Japan's game of cat and mouse, the game playing an interesting satire on the relationship of the two countries. It's interesting how much this aspect of the game seems to be dismissed, and most of what you get to hear about the game is how stylish it is. USA and Japan were opponents in World War II. After being decimated by the atomic bomb and occupied, Japan suffered the usual sanitization operation and was refurbished by the USA to serve as one of their eyes in Asia. They're one of the biggest allies of the West in the area, much like South Korea. But some currents of Japanese right-wing nationalism have come to confront this knee-bending to the USA against USA's own imperialism and fascism. It's a complex and interesting relationship, and the game uses it as a backdrop for all the weird happenings that take place, and it does it extremely well. Directed by Japanese eyes, but adopting a lot of American culture aesthetic, which is hard to tell if it borders on fascination or satire. We look at it, interestingly, from both optics. The main characters, the Killer7, working for the US government, but again creatively written by a Japanese team. And the truth is that both of them are portrayed as being shit. In all the mutual sabotage we participate and try to avoid, we get to see the sadism of both countries' real intentions, the atrocities, the blood, the manipulation, and no one is really innocent. Both imperial powers with blood on their hands trying to stab each other in the back, and all the surrealism surrounding it. That is Killer7, and we're left to participate in it. All our actions come down to murdering under orders, the on-rails movement, unintentional or not, appropriate metaphor for our lack of free will. The constant paranoia of hearing the giggles in making a 180 degrees turn to check what's to our six. Not only that, but in all the bloodshed, we get to observe how even we, professional assassins that have seen a million heads rolling, are broken by all the madness. An aggregate of multiple personalities in which our own murder is included. Our as in of all the assassin personalities. United by death, in fact, united with their death. Garcian/Emir. And in the end, even him cannot escape being driven mad after finding out the conspiracy in which he killed each of the Killer7 prior to the events of the game. The epitome of all the carnage in Killer7, the most dangerous group of individuals, superhuman mercenaries of the US government, gathered under one individual after being murdered by him, and who goes crazy after finding out. It's the climax to all the disjointed bits and pieces we're fed throughout the game. We're killing a lot of people, but why? For whom? And for what? It turns out we even killed ourselves, being assimilated in one and condemned to kill again for others. We're presented several times with Harmon playing chess and being friendly with who is supposed to be the world's #1 enemy, the leader of the Heaven Smiles. So who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? Heaven Smiles are antagonized as demonic beings who are moved by one purpose: exploding on contact with their victims, no free will, no cognitive capacity, just infinite bloodshed. It's fairly clear that the lack of prescience does not make them much different from other human characters we cross paths with in the game. Heaven Smiles are, in a way less sadistic even. They lack consciousness and even the basic capacity for developing a set of morals. Yet, equipped with this, we see all the atrocities human beings are capable of in their effort to maintain power. This, of course, is the legitimate violence. Heaven Smiles, of course, are savage demons. We receiving the orders to apply justified force. Heaven smiles, on the other hand, just evil in their essence. I guess we can see where this is going. Harmon is an old disabled man who seems like he dreams about being the protagonist in some self-righteous quest to eradicate evil. His pondered speeches contrasting with the fact that when he's asleep he's taken care of by an abusive teenager. When he's awake, however, besides being unable to participate in the action, the girl Samantha is subservient to him. To our eyes, she becomes a maid and records our save games. This kind of cheeky satire on old man is also seen in one of the missions where our two targets are old Japanese politicians, members of the UN party, critical of the new generations but also themselves critical of older generations, in an interesting layout of the widespread ahistoricism in individuals, as people commonly regard their time, its culture and ideals to be the time, in a disregard for all the previous historical moments and the infinite amount of eras that the future holds. As if things would stay static in time, as if 30 years of history in a history of thousands of years would somehow be the true thing. But so they're convinced of that, and they die by it. It's fascinating to think of Killer7 as this vibes-based game when so many things are told in its granted incomplete narrative. But we are told things, and it's impressive the masterfulness of balancing surrealism and some more theatrical moments with saying so many things. Suda has admitted that there were aspects of the story that were cut out of the game, and a little guide complementing the game's story was released a bit later. I think it's a lot more fun to piece things together and wonder about ambiguities and contradictions. Is the game actually trying to say what I'm saying here? Maybe or maybe not. But there we have it. The potential for provocation that works of art have. No need to obsess about making sense of the real dealings of the story when its surrealness allows it to tell us things much more dramatically. Its form and content working to complement each other in perfect harmony. We can be sitting here debating Harmon and all of the crazy shit that happens, and we should. But I think we can agree that his themes with Kunlan look and sound fucking cool. Like dozens of other scenes in the game, there's space for all of that in Killer7. We go around moving on rails, through virtualized scenarios with simple geometry and lack of detail but beautiful gradients and color selection, a sense of gentle sunset in many of them. And it's surprising how, after all of that, the game still instills in us a desire to somehow witness that beauty, to be there in person, and it feels familiar, like many other PlayStation 2 games feel in the same way, even if you're playing them for the first time.